As Peter Opali gets out of bed on a cold morning at his home in Windhoek, he cannot help but think of the less fortunate who sleeps out in the open, under bridges, along railway lines, in public toilets and riverbeds. Peter is no superhero, he is just an ordinary man, but the conviction to make a difference in the life of the less fortunate members of society propelled him to do something out of the ordinary and reach out to them. He is a motorsport fanatic and part of the Namtol spinners group, but due to his spinning skills on the track, he has built up a fan base on social networks like Facebook. Through his social platform, he embarked on a project called Heaven to help the homeless in Windhoek. While warm clothes, blankets and food were handed out, he shared his own story of how he got involved in Heaven.
Believe it or not, Peter is a spinner. Basically, Peter is a guy who loves entertainment, loves life, I love being out there. But recently, Peter got a change of heart since the winter started. Recently, I just woke up one morning feeling extremely cold, and I just thought to myself, if I'm wrapped up with blankets and jackets and I'm feeling so cold, what about the people on the streets? So I just had a change of heart, and I thought, you know what, let me just sacrifice some money, sacrifice some blankets, tell all those people that follow me, all those people that like what I do, let me try and round everyone up together, and we just try and help these people as much as possible. Because every night, I guarantee you, every night, someone comes close to death, because the cold we experience in our houses is nothing compared to what's going on now in these bushes here. It's extremely, extremely cold.
Peter, and the purpose of tonight's operation Saturday night here in Windhoek?
The purpose of tonight is, now that I've seen the cold is even worse now, we're just trying to give as many of them blankets and food, and because most of them are barefoot now. They don't have anything on their feet. We're trying to basically fill up their stomachs and keep them warm tonight, at least most of them. We try to reach as many as possible tonight, because we told most of them were going to come and give everything.
Enough blankets, clothes, shoes and other food items were collected in a record time to make Heaven come true. On a recent Saturday night, Peter and his friends said a little prayer before setting out for the center of town to carry out their task of feeding and clothing the poorest of the poor.
And what we're able to do for these people in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Their minibus they used to transport the goods and clothes has been stacked up to the roof, with everything ranging from warm clothes, blankets, shoes and food, and as Peter jokes, a lot of love. At the first spot where they stopped behind Pioneers Park was a homeless group comprising of around 15 people, mostly children, with a baby amongst them as young as 3 months old. They gathered around the fire, their only means of warmth and light in this hostile environment. At first some were a little skeptic about the presence of a reporter in Peter's company, fearing that they might be belittled by society once their story is written, or that some members of society might look down on them as paupers and beggars. But energetic Peter put their mind at ease, telling them their story needs to be told for the world to see and hear their plight. Holding a baby wrapped in a dirty blanket close to her chest, an elderly lady narrated how the absence of running water forces them to walking long distances for some potable water. Before they leave for the next spot, Stephen van Wyk, with his donation of food and clothes in his arms, thanked the group.
I want to say just please, I'm very happy for the things to help me out of the heart. And I'm very happy because the life you give me this way to struggle out from me, give me such a thing for life to share with people so that I can live like people this way. Thanks to God.
Amen.
For many, the donations might seem small, but for a homeless person, it makes a huge heaven-sent difference. The next stop was even more tragic, a bridge next to one of Windhoek's most affluent shopping malls in the heart of town, where around 20 people sleep. One of them struggled to get to his feet due to the freezing weather and had to be assisted by one of the heaven-sent volunteers. Others opted to stay tucked in their meager makeshift beds to preserve some of the warmth. Shawnee Goeieman, a volunteer, struggled to contain her emotions.
Ma'am, so many people living under the bridges. We're standing literally in the city center. How does your heart feel?
It breaks my heart. I come here every single night, and it doesn't get better like whenever we come here, and it never does. It doesn't change at all. We try our best, but nothing happens. It doesn't get better. It just gets worse every single night because this is their life. This is where they stay, and I can't imagine my life like this.
The volunteers are told of an 11-year-old boy sleeping next to the railway line, apparently in an attempt to ward off the cold through some heat from the tracks after a train passes. The volunteers looked for him to give him some warm clothes and blankets, but on this night he was nowhere to be found. Margaret Morkel, an elderly woman living under this bridge, only had words of praise.
Ek het 'n nuwe era gesê, om hulp gevra en ek sien almal staan by om ons te help. Ons is geseënd. Ons kry ete, ons kry warmte, skoene, klere. Baie dankie vir julle se help.
This is sad, I mean, because when coming here, we got used to seeing the specific kind of people, just a specific bunch. But now these guys are not talking, they're spreading the word. And like you've seen now, we just found an 11-year-old who's sleeping near by the railway because he's got no way out. We tried looking for him, we didn't find him, so it's just getting worse and worse. Just when we think things are getting better, it just gets worse.
At around midnight, the team arrived in Windhoek. By now, the wind accompanied by sub-zero temperatures was making the volunteers' work difficult, as they themselves were now looking for warmer clothes and gloves to keep them warm. Here, an elderly woman has managed to construct a shelter with only a piece of plastic, protecting her from the cold wind blowing from the nearby river. During the short visit to the elderly woman's makeshift home, a cat belonging to the woman greeted the team. The feline was well fed, and it was evident that it receives a lot of love from the elderly woman, despite her own hardships, and it was evident that the love the woman has for the pet overshadows any reality of the hardships and suffering she endures.
Peter,
Yes.
in Windhoek, we're sitting here or standing here at a woman that's living in even worse conditions.
This is sad. It's really sad. I've got no words. This is Windhoek, if I'm not mistaken, one of the richest areas in Windhoek. And you got all these guys with fancy houses and fancy cars, but they can't even just take a minute just to look for these people and just give them something. I mean, they're not asking for all your money, just something. They don't have to give them money, just food, clothing, like what we just did.
And then interesting, they live in poverty themselves, yet they got money to take care of the pets.
Exactly. Just look at that. They don't have, but still they sacrifice to give to animals even. Now why can't we as human beings give? It's sad, man. Very sad.
Peter Opali's dream is to take his project to all corners of the country in order to ensure that no Namibian goes to bed hungry, or, as President Hage Geingob repeatedly says, so that no one is left out.